Who will win the City of Clarksville versus the Blackhorse lawsuit? That's right. Join us today. Going over it all is the owner-operator of the famed Clarksville restaurant, Jeff Robinson. He's on the Joe Padula Show today, so let's get right down to it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Yes, Jeff Robinson. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so let me just okay.
Let me answer that question a little bit. Like, who's going to win?
You're
we're 4 years into it now.
Right.
I mean, like, we're hitting 4-year anniversaries.
Oh my God.
It's amazing. I can tell you so far.
Right.
The only winner so far has been the United States Constitution won one round.
Okay.
Because they tried to take our property without paying for it, and the jury had none of that. I mean, they just rejected that soundly.
Well, let's fill in some people, because some people they know of the lawsuit because they see on Facebook people are talking about it and everything, and they see articles in the papers, but it was in 2016, right? You and Sherry, the Robinsons, you guys went into you guys sued the city.
Well, actually, you got to roll. If you want to roll back through it really quick, I'll try and do it pretty quick. In 1999, tornado struck downtown Clarksville.
That's right.
Post-tornado, some buildings that were located behind ours were torn down by the city because they were so heavily damaged. At the point in time the city was trying to put itself back together, then Mayor Johnny Piper came to us and said, hey, we need to get some utilities into the ground behind your buildings. We need more space to do it, but we don't need that whole lot. We only need a part of it. So if you would buy that whole lot where those two buildings used to be, and then sell us 25% of it, we'll put in some utilities, which will help your business, and we'll put in an alley that will also help you. You know, not only would it help us, but it helps CDE, Gas and Water, the other property owners. It was a good deal.
So behind the Blackhorse, by the way, 132 Franklin Street, downtown Clarksville. But behind the Blackhorse restaurant, there is an alley now.
Well, no, right now there's a vacant lot that remains vacant since the tornado. And there's in that vacant lot, there's a big black fence that goes across it, and a portion of that vacant lot is technically property that the city council voted in 2002 to purchase for a public alley, to purchase that from us.
Okay. All on paper?
Oh yeah, it's city council meeting minutes.
Okay.
For public alley. It's pretty clear. So, we did that deal, and then almost immediately after that, you got to roll back to what it looked like at that point in time. Downtown Clarksville was a construction site. The courts facility across the street was still going up. Streets were getting torn up. Sidewalks were getting put back in place. It was a mess. Then current county mayor, then street department head Jim Durrett.
Jim Durrett was head of the street department.
Right, and he was he was part of this whole transaction. And Jim basically said, hey, it doesn't make sense to build this alley right now because somebody's going to come in here and put in a building, and then they'll just tear up half the alley, and it's not like we're looking for work at the moment. They were covered up anyway, doing post-tornado reconstruction. So we said, okay, and then the street department came and filled a big chunk of it up with rock and kind of created an area that you could get in back there to hold over. So it was safe for entrance and egress and ingress. And then we went into a holding pattern. And this is where, I'll take credit for this mistake. I should have demanded that they build the alley sooner, because what happened next was ultimately Johnny Piper, the mayor who made that deal, and that council who voted for it, they all left. And then we come forward to 2015. I mean, you can look around downtown Clarksville right now at all the vacant lots left over from after the tornado. They're everywhere.
That's right.
I mean, at that point in time, we actually thought, hey, a lot of lawyers will come back down here. They'll build new buildings. This will all fill back up, and it'll all work pretty quickly.
But that wasn't the case.
The reality is that, we come all the way to 2015. It's still sitting there a vacant lot, and we said, well, hell, we need more space for our business.
Because you guys were growing.
Right, because we're growing. So we developed.
What'd you need the space for? What was the vision?
We were going to put a brewery back there. We're going to move our brewery back there, expand the capacity of our brewery, and start running our canning operation out of there.
Where you would create the beer and can it here in Clarksville.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was the goal.
That was the goal. So we're going to expand the brewery and put a canning operation in there.
Right now, it's not in Clarksville where you're.
No, that's in Alcoa.
Alcoa. Up
The city of Alcoa was very happy to see that happen. They got investment and they got jobs.
Oh, I bet they made some money.
Yeah, well, we pay taxes.
Yeah, damn right you do. Right.
So but so we get to 2015, we submitted a site plan, and we had some architectural drawings done to build a new building. And when we submitted that site plan, Gas and Water contacted our engineer and said, hey, hold up, CD put in their new power line, we ran a new gas line, a lot of the infrastructure work got done, but we still needed to upgrade the sewer back in that alley. So will you guys hold up, let us update the sewer, and then proceed with your building? And I said, sure. So we cooperated with the city and said, okay.
What does that mean, update the sewer?
Well, they needed to put in a sewer main extension to go behind those buildings that brought the sewer back out to 2nd Street.
Okay.
The old sewer actually ran under some older buildings, like the old Brenner's Furniture Building, for example. And it goes down to Commerce Street and turns down and goes out towards the river. And actually, when that sewer overflows in a heavy rain event, it dumps into the river.
And that's the city that takes care of that. That's not county, that's city?
That's city.
Okay.
So, they want rid of that sewer because it goes under other buildings, and ultimately it'll put an overflow in the river anyway. So it was not a good situation. So it makes sense to change it, and their last opportunity to change it would be before we put a building in there.
That's right.
Because then it would be really hard. So we agreed with them and said, okay, do it. And they, and then they said, well, we need to stage off your vacant lot. And we said, okay. And then they said, well, in exchange for that, we'll give you some sewer tap hookup and a couple of water taps. So we said, okay, that's cool. Let's do it.
All on paper.
Yeah, all that part was on paper. Now, as they were doing that job, it became apparent how big that job was. I mean, for example, they bid it for $56,000.
Okay. Is that a good price?
Hell, I don't know. I've never done one of those.
Me neither.
But before it was over, they had about $124,000 in overruns. So it became what I would consider a lot of money went into that.
Right, and that's taxpayer.
That was taxpayer,
right.
Or ratepayer.
Right.
Because it was a gas and water project. So when they did that, during that time frame, they inadvertently
We ready to roll?
put
Oh.
Ruh-roh, we're ready to roll.
Oh, I got the county meeting going on. Hold on, let me. That's Mayor Jim Darrett. He must have heard us.
County Commission meeting.
There's the county commission meeting. It's going on right now.
There you go.
Yeah. I was gonna. We were gonna go over it on the show, but
Yeah. So anyway, they put the sewer in, but when they did it, they inadvertently put the new sewer main extension, wandered over about 2 foot 9 inches onto our property. So they got an encroachment on our property from their sewer.
Okay.
And basically there was an error in the site plan that we'd provided them.
how did they not know they were going into your property?
They didn't do a survey before they dug.
Okay.
They relied on an old site plan, and that old site plan had an error in it.
Uh-huh.
And I would recommend anybody who digs downtown.
Yeah.
It's all tight. Property lines are,
Absolutely.
the lots are small, and city has their own engineers. They obviously got lots of money they're willing to spend. They should get a survey, done before they dig.
Okay.
So but anyway, it was basically an inadvertent, almost honest mistake, but it happened.
Right. Blueprints were wrong, whatever. Okay. But they're still on your property.
Right. They put the sewer on our property.
Uh-huh.
So, and we said, look, while you're doing this alley or you're doing this project, now's the perfect time to prepare this site for the alley, because it's never going to be cheaper, because they had just dug it all up and just put rock back down on it and smoothed it all out.
Now, while they were operating and doing all this, how did that affect your business at all?
The contractor who did the job worked really hard to not disrupt our. We take our deliveries in the back door.
That's right.
Yeah, and they did a good job of not making that too difficult. I mean, they bent over backwards.
Right. So you guys were working hand in hand with you.
Yes.
Right, during all this. Right. So during this, okay, so boom, now it's already done. You're upset.
Well, yeah, but what happened was during that project, we said, look, now's the time to do the alley. And then it became pretty apparent that the big mistake of not getting the alley built when Johnny Piper was mayor was coming to the forefront, because now Kim McMillan was mayor.
Okay.
Me and Kim McMillan did not get along.
Why? Why do you think you two didn't get along?
Dude, we don't have enough time for that. Let's just say that she was 0 for 8, brother.
Okay.
She had 8 years, didn't build a road, didn't build a park, didn't build anything.
So because because you are very vocal. I mean,
Yeah.
not only just in person, but on social media. You know, putting stuff out there, facts out there.
Yeah, she and I just didn't see eye to eye.
Yeah.
You know, I like Liberty Park, for example.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's cool. I like the skate park. I
That's
like
right.
Heritage Park.
Right.
You know, I like the Greenway. I like I like roads.
But you're mentioning all these places that are not downtown.
Yeah, but at least they're projects that got done.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, you got to go back to Johnny Piper to find a project that was been done. We're like 10 years now since the city did a project.
Okay.
So, and Kim McMillan was 8 of that. And so she and I didn't see eye to eye, but, you know, she wasn't doing much positive. But let me tell you, you give her the opportunity, she can hose you in a heartbeat.
Okay.
So she had the opportunity to hose us, and she took it. So she put the kibosh on the alley. No alley. So
Now, had the alley been built, then what?
we'd have a building down there, and we wouldn't have a lawsuit.
Right. Okay, but so no alley.
Hey, they considered it for a moment. They got the contractor who did the sewer project to give them a bid. How much would it cost from this point to put the alley in instead of not putting it in?
Do you feel that's the what was the estimate?
$10,000.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
I did not know that.
They get one better deal than that, though. Before this gets into a lawsuit, they actually get a better offer.
So the lawsuit, you weren't even thinking lawsuit at this time.
Not yet, but then we had a meeting down in the mayor's office where she wanted to talk about resolving encroachments.
Right.
And there were other property owners there, and there were department heads there. We're all in there, and she kept banging her head on the table and saying, "It's not an alley. It's not an alley," as all her employees kept calling it an alley. So
why does she have an issue? Why do you think she had an issue with the term alley?
because she didn't want to admit that it was ever supposed to be an alley.
Okay.
I mean, the city's probably spent $50,000 in extra legal fees reworking documents to take out the word alley.
Interesting.
Because their own lawyers and people keep putting it in, and they have to take it back out.
Wow.
They don't ever want to admit it was supposed to be an alley.
Okay.
So,
well, what did they what was that administration trying to call it then?
we called it that property that the city purchased ostensibly to be an alley, but shall not be.
The artist formerly known as Alley. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It was really kind of comical. I mean,
Wow.
it's sad now, but
Yeah.
it's comical then.
Right.
But we walked out of that meeting in her office, and I talked to my lawyer, and I said, "Hey, sue him."
And that's when you.
Well, now actually, he's a little bit more level-headed than I am.
Yeah. And this is still 2015, or are we in 2016?
Now we're in 2016.
Okay.
So we're in 2016, probably May 2016. And he says, no, you don't want to do that. Lawsuit's bad. It'll stretch out. It'll be a lot of money. Nobody wins. It's bad. I said, all right, well, what do we do? And he said, we're going to send him a letter. He's like, you need to think about the terms. How could you resolve this and get going with your business? So we sent him a letter, I think in May of 2016, that said, basically, you give us back that little slice of land.
Uh-huh.
We'll give you an easement for your encroachment on our property, and then we'll build the alley at our expense, and then we'll give the city and all the adjoining property owners cross-access easements for every bit of ingress, egress, and utility maintenance. So we would have eaten the cost of building the alley, and the city would have had the benefit of it. And nobody would have had a lawsuit. And Kim McMillan said, no.
No.
She said,
What was her counteroffer?
There was no counteroffer.
Just straight up?
No. Nope.
Do you feel that it was personal?
It's interesting. You mentioned Jim Durrett, and when he got deposed for this, one of the lawyers asked him, hey, was this personal? And Jim said, yeah, it was personal.
Wow.
That was his opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, it was my opinion.
Yeah.
I like hearing it from somebody else
That's
who's
right.
kind of a disinterested third party.
So when the former mayor of Clarksville said no, we're not going to work out that deal, which would have cost you more up front, but in the long term you would have had your canning, your brewing and canning facility right here.
And the cost to the taxpayer at that point would have been zero.
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
Not even the $10,000.
Because you were picking it up.
Yeah, we were going to pay for it because we wanted to build our building.
Yeah.
So they said no, and then I went back to Mark and said, all right, now sue him.
Now sue.
And he said, okay, let's sue him.
Now, what about because you still have to run your business. You still had to get your brewery and your canning place.
Well,
were you looking at other places now?
Well, we started then, kind of starting to look about, and what we did in the interim was we expanded where our operation was in Knoxville at that point in time. We started expanding our brewery there, but I had never been in a lawsuit like this before, and I had no idea or concept of the amount of time it would take, and
Well, we're going on 4 years now.
yeah, no kidding. And now, 2 years into it, we found another location. We built a brewery. We moved our brewery. We expanded.
You created and
Yeah. So
and that all could have been done here.
that was the original goal. I mean, we're from here.
Yeah.
This is
home.
this is it.
Yeah.
And
All right, so 2016. Okay, enough is enough. Sue. Okay, so the lawsuit's filed.
yeah, and basically we sued them over two things. One was the taking of the property, and the other was breaking the promise on the alley.
What was these six separate causes of action?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Okay.
So you got the taking of the property.
Uh-huh.
That's one. And then the other five, if you will, are all revolve around the breaking of the promise.
Okay.
So I kind of lump them all together.
Uh-huh.
So and basically the judge ruled against us on the other ones and said, you waited too long, statute of limitations, you should have got the mayor to write it down before he left office, things like that.
Okay.
So,
But you still had on paper.
well, we had the city council. Well, they had the gas and water committee meeting, the
Yeah.
city council meeting, the mayor's statements.
Right, their time cards are right.
Right. It's all documented, but we didn't have like a written direct. Hey, the city of Clarksville is going to build an alley when you ask for it. Boom, 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 boom.
Okay.
So
that gets thrown out.
yeah, that gets thrown out. Now.
Were you pissed? Were you upset?
Well, sort of. Except he said then, don't worry about it. We'll appeal it.
Okay.
And he said the important part is we continue to fight on the taking of the property, and then once that's done, and he said, unless they're going to change the United States Constitution, you should win that part because they just don't get to take your property without paying, and then we'll appeal the other part. I thought, all right, well, we'll just keep going. Never dreamed it'd be 4 years. So we got to that. We finally got to that part. But it's interesting. We made them an offer to settle it for nothing. Then we had a councilman call me one day. I was driving down the road, and a councilman called me and goes, "Man, this is stupid.
Okay.
How much money settles this now?"
Right.
And I thought about it, and I got our legal bill, and I went and talked to my wife, and I talked to our lawyers, and I said, this guy, he's not on the finance committee. He's just a councilman.
Yeah.
But he's called and he says, this is stupid, and he's right. Should we settle this or try? So we sent him an offer then for $350,000, which would cover our legal bills,
Right.
And basically we'd build the alley again, and same kind of same
Same
thing,
thing.
plus $350,000. And they rejected that one too.
Uh-huh.
Then about a year later, another councilman called me and says, "Hey, we need to try this again. Plus, we're getting a new mayor, and maybe he's going to want to settle it."
So the election, November 2018.
Yeah.
Okay. Mayor Joe Pitts
Yes.
wins election for the city of Clarksville mayor.
Yeah.
All right. Your thoughts? Were you thinking, okay, this might end soon? If there is a personal problem between the outgoing mayor and myself, that, oh my God, we're gonna finally get something.
Yeah, and I had conversations with Joe Pitts going into it. I
Yeah.
supported him during his election. I was very hopeful.
Right.
And then, I began to lose some hope when I noticed that Joe Pitts came into the office, and maybe he changed the carpet. I don't know, but he didn't change anything else.
Okay.
He kept all of Mayor McMillan's staff. And when he kept all of her staff, I started thinking, what's the damn deal?
Yeah.
Why even run? If you're going to keep it all the way it was, we could have just kept her. And that's kind of what's unfolded.
Okay.
Is it all just kept on going. We had one stab at trying to get it done at $650, a year later. 'Cause
Right.
You got a whole nother year. You got all the legal
All these
fees.
other fees and
Exactly. Keep going up.
well, how much is the city of Clarksville spending during all this time?
I think they're up to $1.2 million now.
$1.2 million for what? Legal fees and
That's all to a Nashville law firm. You asked who's going to win.
yeah.
Hopefully our lawyers get paid a fair amount, so they will win to a certain extent. But the biggest winner is Bradley Arant, a Nashville law firm.
Out of Davidson County.
Out of Nashville, who's now been paid about $1.2 million taxpayer dollars.
Why would the city of Clarksville outsource this job for an out-of-county law firm?
Got to get Kim McMillan in here.
Okay.
And ask her. I mean, a bigger question for me is why Joe Pitts kept him.
Okay.
You know, he's actually in office now.
Have you asked him that?
Joe and I don't speak that much anymore.
Aw. What if we get you on together?
Oh yeah, I'd be glad.
We could solve this all together.
Somehow I doubt that, but I'd be glad to be on.
Yeah.
But I tell you how it's kind of comical, and I talk about how they're the winners. So I get copies of their bills every month. It's public information. You could get them. You just send in a request.
That's right.
They send you a copy of the bill. So I sit there and I read their bill. So I'm reading one day, and I'm kind of looking through it, and you got all the time for the lawyers. And I think that bill that month's like $50,000. And I get to the back page of it, and there's the expenses.
Okay.
And there's a $9 pedo on there.
Yeah?
Yeah, we bought him lunch. Dude comes to Clarksville for some meetings.
Right.
Charges like $2,800.
Uh-huh.
Clarksville
That's
taxpayer
right.
dollars. And then he has the balls to put on his lunch.
Right.
And then they paid it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't tell me he wasn't going to eat lunch in Nashville.
Yeah.
And what's funny is I see a lot of lawyers downtown. I work downtown. I can't tell you how many lawyers have said to me, dude, we're really sorry to see you going through this. This is bad. But we're even more sorry to see $1 million go to Nashville.
Just keep going to Nashville.
Yeah, it's like, because, downtown's populated with lawyers.
That's right. They would like the business.
No kidding.
Right.
I mean, they're paying taxes here. They'd have done, done the job.
Because the initial lawyer was set in Nashville, were there contracts in place with that law firm that they must stay on this case? Could it even be that, or I don't even know how that works.
I mean, Tennessee's kind of an employment at will state in general. And I would think if they wanted to fire that law firm and hire another one,
right,
or take it all in-house,
yeah,
that's a decision Joe Pitts could have made on his first week.
Right. Is it not too late to change lawyers?
You'd have to ask them.
Right.
I mean, they've shown no indication yet.
Yeah. Well, okay, so still going on. Does it get brought up in city council and everything?
Well, another city councilman.
Because they control the purse.
Well, it's kind of interesting the way it's set up. Is several years ago they moved the management of the lawsuits and the city attorney from the council as a whole to the finance committee.
Okay.
So there's 5 of them on this finance committee. And the 5 of them on the finance committee get the update every month from the lawyers, and they go over the bills, and they make the decisions to keep going and to pay the lawyers. And then if we send an offer to settle, then they make the decision to accept it or not. So you got 5 councilmen that are deciding to spend the $1.2 million and risk losing more.
What is their reasons for keeping it, and maybe their reasons for ending it? Do you know?
I don't know. They go into closed session
to
discuss that because it's quote unquote legal, conversation, and nobody knows what their conversation is.
I would like that to be public. I would love to.
I tell you, the other thing that's interesting is since they're quote unquote the finance committee,
right?
I mean, nobody ever really thinks about who that is. Like Jeff Burkhart's the chairman of it. He's been the chairman of it like for the whole time of this lawsuit.
Right.
So he votes, month after month to send money to Nashville.
He terms out.
He sure does.
He terms out.
Yeah, but Stacy Streetman.
Right.
Yeah, she's a new council person.
She's new, right?
Yeah. Jumps from new council person to on the finance committee, making these decisions over the top of a lot of council.
What is Stacy's reason? I mean, the votes? Since there's how many? 5 of them?
There's 5 of them.
There's 5 of them. So, do you know if it's a 3-2 vote to keep this going? If it's a 4-1? If it's 5-?
I've read their minutes from those meetings, and most of the times the minutes don't actually say who voted for what. They'll go into closed session to discuss something. They'll come back out, and then they'll have a vote. And sometimes it'll say 3-2 or 5-0.
Does it have names next to those?
No, I think that's an issue because it really doesn't. And like every other vote, like when the council votes.
That's right. They're having a meeting right now. Whatever they vote on at the Montgomery County level.
Right. Then you see who voted for what. And I think
that is it. That's an interesting issue. That in that vote,
that's what I call shady shit.
Yeah, that is. I would like to see the names on all topics when they vote.
Who votes how?
Right.
Yeah. But what's going on now is some councilmen have made a motion or put it on the agenda or whatever their proper technical term is,
Yeah.
to get it in front of the whole council at their next meeting.
What do you think your chances are?
Well, the mayor's got 5 votes
Uh-huh.
from his handpicked,
That's right.
guys that don't mind spending taxpayer dollar on Nashville lawyers. So he's got 5 from the start. So, I don't know.
Man. All because of the 5. And now, have you been reached out to any other, like you said, city council members have reached out to you in the past? Have anyone reached out to you recently?
Just the guys that are working on it now.
Yeah.
David Allen and Richard Garrett.
Rachel Garrett, Ward 1. David is Ward
9 or 8.
Yeah, I think it's 9.
Yeah, 9. Those 2 guys have made honest efforts to try and end it. And it's not that they necessarily agree or disagree.
Yeah.
But they just look at the money.
Right.
It's just a stupid expenditure of money.
It's over $1 million.
That's one. Yeah, and climbing fast.
When's the next court date?
I don't know when the next court date is, because right now everybody's getting their appeals going. Like, we won the part where the jury.
Oh yeah. Bring us there. Okay,
yeah, so we go to court.
Okay, so you go back to court. Okay.
Yeah, and the jury, we have a jury trial. Can the city take some of our property without paying for it?
Just on that statement, no, right?
Hell no.
Right. Okay. Hell no.
It's hell no.
Hell no. Okay.
Yeah. It took 2 days almost to get 12 people that would listen to it and give them a chance to say that. Because, you go through the jury vor die thing, and you got to find people that are open-minded to hear it.
What was the prosecutor's argument?
Well, the city attorney, Lance Baker, his argument was that they only took a little. And he kept saying, a little is not enough. We only took a little, and a little is not enough. And
I guess that's your only argument, though. You know what I mean? That's their only argument.
So they told 12 citizens that, hey, we could take a little property.
Just a little
and
bit
not
of
pay.
it.
It's
Right.
real simple. Hey, dude, can they come take 3 foot off the front of your yard?
You'll hear a shotgun cocking.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, hell no.
Right.
That's core American right there. I can't believe the guy actually tried it.
So
he's going to go into court and say, yes, we can take your property without paying for it.
It's just a little.
Yeah. One of the jury guys, I saw him after the trial.
Yeah.
And I told him thank you. He said, dude, they were going to have to wheel me out in a body bag before I would let some son of a bitch from a city take your property without paying for it.
Right.
He's like, I did not serve the United States of America Army to see that happen.
That's right. I totally understand
I
you.
was like, man, I'm with you 100%.
Right.
And,
Now, okay, say they made you an offer, okay?
They've never made an offer.
Say they did make an offer, but it wasn't enough.
They've never made an offer. I mean, the way they work,
Yeah.
the way the city works on a lawsuit is like policy, is that the people suing them have to make them an offer. They don't ever pick up the phone and say, hey, let's work this out. That's not their way they work. Not under the current administration and the current lawyers.
Is that by choice, or
that is their choice.
Okay,
They choose.
That's not in like a bylaw or something.
We've had to read all kinds of city crap, and I've never come across anything that says we have to fight to the death and we won't make a deal, and we won't pick up a phone and call anybody. I've never seen it in writing.
Uh-huh.
But that is their policy.
Interesting.
So we have sent them offers. They countered one of them with some absurd demands that we couldn't sign.
Well,
So-
what were the what was some of the I can't do this.
Well, there's one paragraph in particular. They told us that they wanted us to hold harmless and defend the city against future lawsuits from third parties related to a storm drain that wasn't on our property.
Okay.
Can't do it. I mean, I'm not an insurance company. It's a storm drain that's not even on our property. It was just a poison pill that they put in there simply to make the deal not work.
On purpose.
Yeah, I mean, why else would you do that?
So, as if to show face that they tried to make an offer, knowing that the offer you would not sign.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. Like, would you sign something that said you're responsible for a storm drain over there on the next guy's property if somebody sues the city over it?
No, I can't do
You
that.
can't do it.
I can't do it.
Nobody can do it. Hey, and then what's really interesting is that storm drain, it turns out, is tied into the system that overflows into the river. And the river keepers are suing the city for overflows in the river.
Uh-huh.
If I had signed that, we'd have been liable to help defend the city from that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you what. Let me. It gets deep. It gets deep.
It's real deep. It's about $1.2 million deep and growing.
Well, I hopefully some solutions called. I mean, it's unfortunate that you already built your brewery and canning facility over in Alcoa.
Dude, we've got a plan for a modified version of the building here. We would still like to build a building there, and we have some ideas to expand our brewery here a little bit.
Yeah,
but not the same way.
Right.
Maybe have some flex space in there where we could do a hail and farewell or a little bit bigger party than we do now.
Yeah, almost like a event space.
Exactly. Yeah. It wouldn't be huge, but it'd do a party of 130, 140.
That's plenty.
Yeah, and then
how awesome would that be downtown?
It would work. I mean, we get calls for it.
Yeah.
And then we put some offices on top, and we still have a use for it, and we still have a desire to build a building. It's just not what we originally wanted. But it doesn't have to remain a vacant lot.
Right.
That's their decision.
Well, Jeff Robinson, owner-operator of the Blackhorse, lawsuit with the City of Clarksville since 2016. Your prediction of when it ends?
If these councilmen are not successful in getting it settled in the next little bit through this next meeting,
yeah,
I'd give it at least 2 more years.
Damn. All right. There you go. I'm sorry I didn't have any water for you either.
No,
but
that's all right.
but let's we're gonna wrap it up here, all right? But Jeff, thank you, brother. I appreciate you coming on and
thanks for having me.
Too easy. I see the stuff on Facebook. I'm like, man, let's get him in. Let's find out the bottom of it. From your side.
There is no bottom.
All right. Hey, thanks for checking us out. Don't forget to share this on your timeline and weigh in with your opinions. What do you think? Clarksville. It's your money. It's your opinions. All right. We'll catch you next time.
Call your councilman.
Yep, there you go. If you got an opinion on this, talk to
think about
your
it.
elected officials.
You like police cars?
Yeah.
Bradley Arant's not making police cars. They're not building sidewalks. They're not building parks. They're not putting in traffic lights. Bradley Arant's not doing a damn thing but sucking money out of this community.
Where's the traffic light that's really needed? What area?
Hornberger,
College Street.
Yeah. Hey, but let me tell you what. Actually, in front of Northeast.
Yeah.
Trenton Road.
Oh yeah.
Coming at Hazelwood.
Oh my God, that's the worst.
That's probably the worst.
That's the worst.
Yeah, I mean,
God forbid you got to make a left.
Yeah, if somebody doesn't let you do it, you're screwed.
They're not happening.
I mean, would $1 million put a traffic light there? Probably.
Just saying.
Just saying.
All right, my friends. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Sure.
All right, Joe Padula Show, where Clarksville goes to party with a purpose. Absolutely.